So a couple days ago, we went out to Universal Studios for an annual pass holder preview. The very first day that Universal reopened, quote unquote reopened to the general public. This was by invitation only. You had to make a reservation in order to get into the park to experience this reopening. We were there on the very first day. And as of me making this video, you guys have absolutely crushed that video that we posted yesterday, and the comments, subscriptions, the likes, everything. That video has over 21,000 views. Thank you guys so much for all of you watching the video and all of your likes and all of your comments. Most of them are very positive. Some of them were pretty negative. Some of you guys are straight savage in the comments section of that video. And we also got a lot of new subscribers from that video, so thank you guys so much. I really hope you guys stick around for a while because we have a lot more to see and do with all these theme parks reopening. The point of this video today is just to kind of sum up my thoughts and opinions on what we experienced that day. I was gonna put this at the end of that video, but that video ended up being a little over 30 minutes long, so I didn't want to push it any further. But it was, I have a lot of mixed emotions. First of all, let me just say this one thing. I am super grateful that we were able to go to Universal Studios. I'm so grateful that they reopened, and I'm very thankful that we were able to go and experience it. Universal Studios is, I think, one of the first major theme parks to reopen. You know, a lot of, the virus is still around. The virus is still a thing. People are still getting sick. Cases are still going up. So it's still a thing. It's not like the virus has gone anywhere. This is just the first theme park to reopen with these new social distancing measures and these new rules in place to try to keep the general public safe so that we can kind of resume a little bit of normalcy in our lives and to have the theme parks reopen. So this coming week, SeaWorld and Busch Gardens are going to be reopening. I'm going to have a separate video on that. And in July, Disney World is going to reopen. So Universal was the very first ones to try this thing out. And I just, you know, again, I'm super thankful that we were able to go. I'm super grateful that we were able to go. And the whole point of going was to really show you guys what it was like and for you guys to get an idea of kind of what to expect. Now, again, this was an annual pass holder preview. This was by reservations only. As of me making this video today was the first official day of Universal Studios opening to the general public, and I will get to my thoughts and opinions on that later on based off of what I saw on social media. We do plan on going back to Universal Studios sometime in the very near future, so that way we can get a feel for what it's like with the general public in the park and not having a park full of annual pass holders. Also, another goal with our trip very, very soon is to focus more on Universal Studios Park. I know yesterday's video focused really heavily on Islands of Adventure, and we really want to go inside Universal Studios Park because supposedly, based off of your comments in the last video and based off of what we saw on social media, a lot of people were in agreement that Universal Studios Park was actually a bit more well managed and had a lot more room for social distancing as compared to Islands of Adventure. So I'd really like to go and see that for myself. So today's video is really going to be focused on our experience over at Islands of Adventure. We were only at Universal Studios for a brief amount of time, and that was during the last 30 minutes that the park was even open. So I can't really talk too much about what Universal Studios Park was doing compared to Islands of Adventure. So the experience started before we even got to the parking booths. We saw a lot of different people there, a lot of cars, and it was pretty backed up. And once we passed the parking booths, it was even backed up just to get inside the parking garage, which was really surprising, you know, because it was by reservation only. We weren't expecting that many people to be there. And so when we got there and to see the parking booth plaza completely jam-packed and the line of cars being backed up, it was pretty surprising, and we were not expecting that. I know on our way to Universal Studios, we saw tweets from different media outlets about all the lines getting inside the park. So again, once we got there, we weren't even sure if we were going inside, if we were even going to stay, you know? So we parked our car, finally made it upstairs, and you guys saw in the video the line that was forming to get your temperature checked. And thankfully, we weren't standing in that line for very long. We were in there for a little under 10 minutes before we finally got our temperature checked. But the line did move at a pretty constant pace, which was, I guess, pretty good. Then after that, security was pretty long, and there was really no social distancing in the security lines. They only had social distancing markers set up near the metal detectors and not too far back out that way. So once you are past those markers. There's really no social distancing, and the way that it's set up, it's kind of like a half circle. So we have a bunch of lines intersecting with each other and people going every which direction. It wasn't really well managed with security, and we weren't exactly sure what to do, and we were doing our best to social distance. Once we made it inside City Walk, it was pretty easy going, very easy to social distance. We walked right over to Islands of Adventure, and once we got inside, we saw all the lines of people trying to get inside. We got inside and we were immediately met with the virtual queue system not really functioning all that well, and then we were also met with guests not really wearing their masks properly, which is of course to be expected. People don't really want to wear masks. People say that they can't breathe in masks, and some people just not wanting to follow rules in general. So we already expected that, but the majority of people were wearing their face masks, and to everyone who was wearing their face mask properly the entire time, thank you so much, I applaud you. That's another thing that I wanted to mention, is that we're not making these videos to complain about everything. The main point of these videos is to shed light on what is going on and showing people who may genuinely be concerned about their own health and safety, who want to go back out and to have fun and to have some sort of normalcy, that there are other people out there who think that the virus is a hoax. They think the virus is a joke. They don't believe in the virus. They're trying to downplay it. And they don't want to follow the rules, and that there are people out there who are still going to the parks who just don't care. They don't care, and there were people who were just walking around the parks without a mask at all, who weren't drinking, who weren't eating, or doing whatever. Universal Studios did do a good job with setting up the You Rest areas, where they had designated areas throughout the park where you are able to go socially distance and remove your mask and just kind of take a break and just take a breath of fresh air without having to breathe it through a mask, which was really, really good. I applaud Universal Studios for that. It was a very smart idea for people to do that, and to give people that option to have a little bit of an escape other than sitting down, eating, or drinking something. Really applaud them for having that little escape. But my primary goal is to help people stay safe. I want people to stay safe. I know this virus is a killer, and I know it's no joke. I want all the team members and all theme park employees everywhere to stay safe. And the safest thing to do is to wear a mask to prevent the spread. And in the video, we showed how there were certain areas of Islands of Adventure where social distancing was damn near impossible. You couldn't walk without bumping elbows with somebody. I mean, that's just how it was, especially in Hogsmeade. It was very, very difficult to social distance in that area. In Jurassic Park, especially with the sidewalks being so constricted with all the construction going on, it was very, very difficult. And quite honestly, Coda and I were pretty uncomfortable. We decided to push through it because Coda and I, we know that we're healthier. We know that, you know, we won't be catching the virus that easily. Number one, we were wearing face masks the entire time properly. Number two, we had hand sanitizer with us, and every time we wanted to touch our face for whatever reason, we used hand sanitizer. We weren't touching every little thing that we saw. We were keeping our hands off of hand railings. We weren't drinking from water fountains. We weren't touching every little thing. And you don't realize how much you touch when you're trying not to touch things. There were times where we were standing in a queue, especially for Hagrid's. We were waiting in the tunnels in that queue. I put my hand on the hand railing, and after I did that, I realized what I was doing, and I needed to use hand sanitizer. I wasn't able to touch my face until I got that squirt of hand sanitizer before I got onto the attraction. So we were doing our best to be safe, and with everyone wearing masks, we felt okay enough to traverse through some of the crowds. But if we saw someone who wasn't wearing a face mask, we steered clear immediately, and we walked out. A lot of you guys were commenting on yesterday's video saying, you know, if you don't feel safe, if you're just going to complain about people not wearing masks, then don't go. Why should we be the ones being punished for following the rules? Why are we going to excuse people for deliberately disobeying the rules, not wearing masks on purpose. You know, I get, you know, Universal is making some medical exceptions. If you physically cannot wear a mask, if you can't bear to wear a mask for whatever medical reason, I understand that. They will give you a wristband so that way employees can identify that you are medically excused from wearing a wristband. I don't know how that process works. I cannot comment on that, but I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who deliberately do not wear masks just because they don't want to wear a mask, or they don't think that the virus is a real thing and they think the whole thing is stupid. Universal has these rules in place to protect guests and employees. This virus, again, is not a joke. People are still getting sick. People are still dying from this virus. Universal Studios wants to resume some sort of normalcy and to give people an escape. The theme parks are an escape for people. We shouldn't have to worry about this virus. Once we're inside, we should expect people to follow the rules, to socially distance where possible, and to wear their masks properly. And if people aren't doing that, then quite frankly, you guys are the ones who don't deserve to be at the parks. You guys are the ones who should be staying home. If you don't care about other people around you, if you show that level of disrespect, then you have no reason being in the parks. You have no reason being in the parks. Don't punish the people who are trying to follow the rules set by others, set by the theme park, set by the CDC, the World Health Organization. Don't try to punish other people who are trying to follow the rules just because you think that the virus is a joke, because that's not okay. That's not okay. And I will continue to call people out on that. And if you leave a nasty comment like that in the video, I'm gonna ignore it. I'm not gonna acknowledge you. And if it's nasty enough, I will remove the comment, because I'm not gonna settle for any negativity, and I'm also not gonna settle for people who are trying to claim that the virus is a joke and that we should just resume our lives like normal. No, you can't. That's just the hard fact. You can't resume life as normal. We can't go back to the way things were right now and not walk around wearing a face mask. You have to, or else you run an increased risk of contracting the virus. And people will get sick and people will die. They will continue to die. They are continuing to get sick and die from this virus. So Universal is just trying to do their best. And I applaud the theme parks for making masks a requirement. And they will continue to be a requirement for quite a while, because social distancing is impossible. It's impossible in a theme park, and we understand that. We went into this knowing that we weren't going to be able to social distance as much as we wanted to. And we were pretty disappointed with how overcrowded the park was. We weren't expecting it to be that busy. Some of you guys agreed with me when I said in the video that it looked almost like a normal day at Universal Studios. It was pretty busy, and a lot of the attractions did not have virtual queue. The rides that did have virtual queue, their lines were pretty short. And even for Hagrid's a Motorbike Adventure, that ride, the way that it worked was you had to get a reservation. If you didn't have a reservation for that ride, then you're not riding it. And they released different times throughout the day. You just had to be quick, because a lot of other people around you are trying to get a reservation. And once you got that reservation, you show up at that time, and we were in and out within 15 minutes. We got in the queue. It took us 10 minutes to get to the ride vehicle, and then we got out. That was perfect. That was perfect. Now, seeing pictures from today, it looked like they increased the numbers or whatever, but the queue lines were a bit more backed up in Hagrid's than what we saw at the annual pass holder preview. I'm not sure why, whether they increased park capacity or they increased the number of reservations that they released for Hagrid's coaster. We're not entirely sure, but we did see some pictures coming out today of the queue line being a bit more backed up into the Dragon Egg room and whatnot just before the tunnels. We were able to continue walking through the queue into the tunnels, more than halfway through the tunnels, before we actually hit a group of people, and we had to actually wait in line and kind of go around it. But the rides with the reservation system, absolutely fantastic. I love it. Now, something that I did not mention in the video yesterday was the queues for attractions without reservations, and specifically the Hulk. I was very impressed with how people were handling the queues with social distancing in the Hulk. They have line markers everywhere on the ground of where you're supposed to stand. It says, please stand here, and they have a little gap, please stand here. For the queues with switchbacks where you go one way, you turn around, you go right back the other way, they do their best to make that area blocked off so that no one's going to be standing next to you. If you're walking, you have a few spaces where you can stand, and then you turn the corner, you can stand here, but then the entire next lane over, you can't stand, and there's another spot at the very end before you reach that next side. So they don't really want people standing next to each other, and Universal Studios did a really great job with planning out their queues so that no one was directly standing next to each other, and it was great. Now, there were a few instances where you would have to turn a corner in order to get to your next spot, and we weren't able to really tell whether someone was standing there, so we would have to walk up a little bit, check the corner, see someone was standing there, and kind of walk back. And it just kind of dominoes from there, because people see you moving, and then they move, and then if you have to move backwards, it just snowballed into a whole thing. But I will say, from what we saw the other day with the queues were very well managed, and they were fantastic. And having that little squirt of hand sanitizer before you get onto the ride vehicle, absolutely fantastic. And I really hope that Universal Studios is gonna keep enforcing that and keep pushing for everyone, literally everyone who's getting onto an attraction, to take a little squirt of hand sanitizer and to wipe their hands before getting onto a ride vehicle. Now, moving on to the Hogwarts Express, I was really impressed with that. You know, if you've ever ridden the Hogwarts Express, then you know that all the rows, all the lanes are right next to each other. They have one row where you can stand right up against the gate, and then the next row over, you're standing back by where the little queue lane starts. So you're not standing right next to each other, which is really, really good. I really like that. And you had your own cabin to yourself. There's no group mixing. I really, really enjoyed that, and I hope that that continues for quite a while, because I felt really safe. Now, I don't want people to think that I had a bad time. I did not have a bad time. I really enjoyed myself, and we actually got a lot done. We were able to ride The Incredible Hulk. We rode River Adventure. We rode Cat in the Hat. We rode Hagrid's. We went on the Hogwarts Express. We got a lot done, and we actually had a lot of fun. And being able to go and eat somewhere was really great. You know, we showed all of that. We had a lot of fun. We were just pretty disappointed with how many people were there. We thought that because it was a reservation only thing, we weren't expecting that many people, and we weren't expecting the crowds getting in, and how little social distancing there would be in the park. And I'm not the only person who thought that it was pretty disappointing too, and who were pretty shocked about the whole process. Our friend Big Fat Panda, I'll leave a link to his channel, he put out a video saying that he had to leave. He got there, he got his temperature checked and got to security, and then he didn't feel safe at all, and he left. He turned around. He was overwhelmed with how many people were there and the lack of social distancing, and he didn't feel safe, and he left. It's not just me. There were other people there who felt the same way. The people over at the Diz, they had their complaints about how little social distancing there was. Now, they were saying that the social distancing over at Universal Studios Park was phenomenal, and we are really excited to head on out to Universal Studios Park and to check it out for ourselves. And we will make sure to bring a video to you guys giving our honest review about Universal Studios Park as soon as we get out there. Hopefully, next week we'll be able to go out there. However, next week is also the grand reopening of SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, so we need to go out to both of those parks first before heading on back to Universal Studios. So we got a lot of videos coming up in the very near future. But, you know, thank you guys for your comments on the last video. Again, 21,000 views, absolutely fantastic for this channel. Very few of my videos ever reached that high of a view count, so thank you guys so much for watching and for sharing, for all your comments and your likes. Got a pretty high dislike count on that video too, but I have a feeling that a lot of those people who are disliking the video are people who really think that either the virus doesn't exist or that what I was filming or saying was just complete BS. But whatever, there's always going to be those people. The point that I'm trying to make here is that I genuinely care about the people around me. I may not know the person next to me, but I want them to be safe. I want my neighbor to be safe. I don't care who you are, what color you are, what religion, sexuality, whatever. I want everyone around me to be safe. And if I don't agree with something that is being done, and I feel that something can be done better to help keep people safe, then I will speak my mind and I will share it. A lot of these other channels out there were showing just how hype everything was when the parks reopened. They just showed everything was all sunshine and rainbows and, oh look, you can do this, oh look, you can do that. Not a lot of them focused on the social distancing, focused on what was being done in the lines. They all just wanted to go out there and show you that, hey, we're at Universal Studios with a mask. We're riding the Hulk with a mask. We're riding the Mummy with a mask. We're at Mel's Drive-In with a mask. So, you know, just things like that. A lot of those other vloggers were showing that and, you know, making it seem like everything was perfect when it wasn't. It wasn't. And speaking off of what I saw today on social media from their official reopening with the general public being able to buy tickets and to go inside, it looks like it was a little bit better. It looks like it was a little bit better, but again, I can't really comment on something that I wasn't really there to experience, so we will be going out there as soon as we can to give our thoughts and to show you guys exactly what's really going on. I know I was really rambling a lot in this video, but at the same time, I just wanted to give my final thoughts. Again, in short, I felt safe. I felt safe. I felt that Universal Studios did a good job. The team members were all excellent. They were all wearing their masks. They were all doing what they needed to do, and they all did a great job. Universal Studios has the right idea. There are a few things that can be improved upon, but they're nothing major. I felt safer going to Universal Studios Islands of Adventure than I would going to my local Publix or Walmart. I felt safer there than going out shopping anywhere else. So please don't get the wrong idea from yesterday's video. Yeah, I complained about a few things, but they're minor things and they can be easily improved upon, and I genuinely had a lot of fun going to Universal Studios. Now, if you guys are genuinely concerned about your own safety and for the health and safety of your family members or anyone else living in your household, then I wouldn't recommend going because the social distancing is not there and you're just gonna have anxiety the entire time. Now, when you get inside a queue and when you're on an attraction, I felt really safe, but walking through the park, it wasn't the greatest, but again, I did feel safer than going out to Publix because everyone was wearing a mask for the most part. 99% of the people that were there were wearing their mask properly, and I applaud you for that if you were out there wearing your mask properly. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I know it was really rambly, but I just wanted to get my thoughts and opinions out there. Let me know what you guys thought of today's video down in the comments section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? If you disagree with me, just please be respectful in the comments. I'm not looking to fight with anybody. If you have a negative comment, I will read it and, you know, I will acknowledge it. I will acknowledge it. And if you want to try and change my mind, fine. Try and change my mind in the comment section. Just do it respectfully, please. Thank you guys again so much for watching today's video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new around here. Ring that bell, get notified whenever I upload a new video like this in the future. I hope you are all having a wonderful day, morning, afternoon, evening, and I'll see you guys in the next video.